best drivers for repeat business. I also host a podcast on digital marketing called Insight Podcast. It's available on Apple Music and Spotify and Google, all over. So if you are interested in learning more about digital marketing and just all of what the other platforms do, please don't go and give that a listen, because I interview South African business owners, and I think it's really relevant just to what we're dealing with in South Africa. I find that globally it's a little bit different. So today I'm going to be talking to you about Mailchimp. As mentioned, I have a corporate and mobile massage business, amongst other things. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, but my biggest baby is Sheer Bliss, which is corporate and mobile massage. And we started using Mailchimp. Sure, it's been quite a few years now, but our mailers are so effective that literally we have to we prepare in our office when the mail is going out, because we know that we're going to get an influx of responses. So I just want to say quickly to Laurie as the host, I can't see the chat box and stuff while I'm presenting. So if you need to interrupt me, please do. I'm really happy with a conversational session.
Sure, Nadine, we will monitor questions in the chat box.
Cool, thank you. All right, so let's begin with how to set up Mailchimp. So this little monkey, I haven't worked a lot. I'm starting to explore other email platforms now, but Mailchimp is what's most familiar to me. So that's what I'm going to share with you. And please know that I'm not a qualified digital marketer. I am really just a business owner, and I'm sharing my experiences with you. So please feel free to ask questions and I'll help you where I can. But in terms of setting up Mailchimp, what you're going to need first is a database of your customers. And if you have a CRM that you can pull that from, or if you're using an accounting program like Sage or Wave or something like that, you can pull them from there. And I would recommend to put as much information on that as possible. So if you can, from the very, very beginning, start using tags and groups and things like that on Mailchimp, so that you could start dividing your audiences, because I'm sure that I speak to most of the people on this call that when you have a business, you are generally broken up into more than one product, and you have different messages that you want to send to each of your customers. So, I know that for me, we've got our corporate market, and then we've got our customers who are buying directly from us, and they're buying individual massages where we come to their house, they lie down, they get undressed, they have a proper massage on a bed. It's usually a full body massage, or they're having other beauty treatments, compared to when we're going into a corporate office and you've got to reach one person who's going to make the decision to buy for the whole company. And my messaging to each of those audiences is very, very different. So the only way to do that is to have your audiences divided nicely and tagged, so that when you're sending out a mail, you can send to 800 people that it's relevant to, and not send that message to a whole lot of people. Because if I can get, from a show of hands, just please put up your hand if you love spam. Anybody? Nobody loves spam. And the biggest issue with mailers is, I'm sure that everybody here can say, I'm inundated with emails all the time. I hate it when I get 3 emails from one company in 1 week. And I always say that there's only one company that I know of that I'm happy to get like 3 emails a day from, and that's JJCF. Because it's community-based, it's interesting to me. Like when I want to tap into it, I can. When I don't, I just delete those mails. So, unless you have something really valuable to say to your customers, don't just spam them. So when you're setting up Mailchimp, you're going to go onto the Mailchimp website. You've got your database, and it's a really easy step-by-step process. It'll ask you to either log in or create an account, and then you just follow each of their steps. And likewise, once you are in there, you'll see your dashboard. They've got so many helpful videos and blogs and everything to explain each step of the way. And understand that this is going to be an initial time investment. So set yourself at least 3 hours to set up for the first time, and make sure that you do it right. Because if you end up going on and you start it and then you go and do something else, you come back to it, it's like you lost and you don't know where to go again. So take the time set it up right the first time, and it'll get easier and easier as you become more familiar with the program. Okay, any questions there? Okay.
No. No.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not going to my next slide. There we go. All right. Now, automation is something that Mailchimp offers. It's a really powerful tool. I don't know if it's available on the most basic, subscription, but when you set up automation, so if you've got more than 2,000 subscribers, they're going to start billing you. And it can work out, I've got 4,000 subscribers on my database, and I'm paying about 750 Rand a month. But I can do so much with that. So I can schedule my mails, I can set up automation. So what automation does is, once you've created a pop-up on your website, and if you want to do that, you might need to just send your web developer a code that they can do it for you, unless you have access to the back end of your website. But automation is so powerful because the work is already done for you. So you can have people sign up, and then when they sign up, there can be like a little drop down that says, like in my instance, corporate massage, mobile massage, like whatever service they're most interested in, they'll select that, and then they go into the relevant tag so that I can then speak to them with the relevant information. And then they'll arrive, they'll get a welcome email. That welcome email should say something like, hello, welcome to Sheer Bliss. We love to talk about massage and what makes us passionate about making people feel well. You should expect to receive 1 to 2 mailers from us a month. We hate spam as much as you do. If you have been added to this mailing list in error, please feel free to unsubscribe at the bottom of the page. And I say that on every one of my emails. I always have that you can unsubscribe at any time at the bottom of the page. So that if people, because sometimes we do add them to our list in error, and I think that what's important to really understand with Mailchimp is that quality is better than quantity. It doesn't help sending out your message to 10,000 people who don't care about it. You know, it would be like trying to sell bacon to this platform. It's just not the right market for it. So make sure that whatever you're saying to your customers is relevant to them. And the best way to do that is to get them to subscribe to your mailing list correctly instead of just adding them on. That said, I do every month, I pull the customers from my CRM, and I do import them into Mailchimp. And it's very controversial as whether that's the right thing or not, but if they're not happy, they can unsubscribe, and I still get sales from those things often. And the kind of things that I'm talking about in those mails, so let's say my automation mails, you get your welcome email, then the next email is going to talk about sort of the next buying phase. So let's start positioning ourselves as the expert in our field, and that's really what you want to do. So you want to now start talking to customers about what you know the most about. So we are the massage experts, and that's what we're going to teach you about. So we're going to talk about things like, is massage safe during pregnancy? What essential oils are safe? If I'm talking to my business customers, I'm speaking to HR managers. So I'm speaking about things like, how can we increase productivity at work? How to get the most out of your staff? So you can see how it's interesting to the customer. And one of the great ways to get this content is, if you're running Google AdWords, go and look at your search terms and see what people are searching for. And then you can find out what your customers are really interested in and start speaking to them in a way that's relevant. You can also, if your business is listed on Google My Business and your business has been verified, you can look at the insights on there, and you'll be able to pull from their information that you can see what your customers are searching for, and that can be really helpful as well.
Another question with regards to data. How do you take your data, so your database, and bring that into Mailchimp? The best way to
depending on where you're pulling it from, it should usually come out in some sort of either a CSV or a Excel spreadsheet, and that's really the best way to do it. And that will divide it into columns. So when you put it into Mailchimp, it'll ask you to align each column. I know that, I use HubSpot as my CRM, which is free, and I really recommend it to anybody. It's excellent. But when I pull from there, it's got a lot of columns, and it's got things like how many staff members at a company, what their annual turnover is, and I might not want all of that information on Mailchimp. So when you import it, it's going to ask you to name every column and decide whether to import it or not. So you can decide what you want on Mailchimp, what is necessary information for you to have there.
Thank you, Nate. And does the free package allow for 2,000 emails?
Yeah, once you hit 2,000, it starts billing you. So if you're not in a position to be billed for it yet, then just keep it under 2,000. Even if it's like 1,900, they won't bill you. But what you can do then is a little workaround is once you've done that and you've sent out your mail, your welcome email, and people have unsubscribed, you'll see how many users you've got space for then, and you can just slowly start importing like 200 or 300 at a time. And I think that when people unsubscribe, initially it's like, you take it a bit personally. It's like, why don't you want to know about my business? Why don't you want to know about my stuff? But the thing is that I think a lot of people are inundated with mails, and they do try to keep their emails really relevant to what they are very much interested in. So try not to take it personally. Yeah. Especially if it's someone you know. Why is this person leaving my mail? But yeah, once you start paying for subscribers, you become a lot more comfortable with people leaving if they're not interested, because you want to be talking to a relevant audience. And when you do your automation, you can do up to 5 or 10 emails. And what's really amazing about that is that each time you mail your customers and they actually open your email and they read it and they find it interesting, they're developing more and more trust with your brand. And people buy from people that they trust. So that really is part of the buyer's journey. We were talking about it before the call started, that you see something once, then you see it the second time, then it's sort of like, oh, I saw this the other day, hang on, let me have a look. And you start getting to know that a little bit better. And then it becomes more and more comfortable. So if you've set up that automation of, let's say you've done 10 emails. So you've got someone, if they stay on your list, they'll be receiving emails from you for up to a year. And you've done that work. You've put in the time investment first. You've created those campaigns and they're going out automatically. That's like a little passive sales platform that's happening without you having to do anything again, unless you want to go back and tweak those mails to make sure that they stay relevant and up to date. Like, for instance, if you're talking about COVID-19 protocols, that's relevant now. You want to make sure that, please God, next year when all of this is over, please God, next year, that you're not still talking about that, because people are really going to be over it by then. So that's just an example. Okay. Okay, content. So how to create content for your mailers. Again, spam. If your email is all sales, people are going to drop off. Like, people are oversold to all the time. So you've really got to be thinking about adding value all the time. And I always recommend that people do listen to podcasts about this, because content generation has to be high quality. If you are sharing a blog, and again, your blog can't just be all about your company. Your blog has to be about the problem that you're solving for your customer. So think about what your customer needs to know about that will make your product look more attractive to them. And that's what you need to talk about. So again, whether it's a life coach needing to talk about boosting self-confidence, or a personal trainer talking about how to maintain your weight, for instance, it's got to be not just about, this is my product that I'm selling, but how am I adding value? I like to call it value-tizing to your customers. And that's the kind of content that you want to be sharing. So you can talk about something like that that's interesting to your customer. You can definitely talk about what's going on in your brand. Like, for example, for us, we are busy getting like a COVID clean certification. That is definitely something I want to tell my customers about. So I'll put it in my email, and then I will have a special offer. So there should always be a call to action in your mails. You should always be saying, there must always be a buy now button, because you're not making these emails for your health. So the way that I lay mine out is I have what's going on at the time, like it's our birthday or whatever it might be, a little bit of information on that, how our business is doing. Here's a special offer with a button that says buy now. And that's something that so many people leave out of their mails, and I always think, you know, these emails are for sales. You've got to have something that your customers can reach out to you easily. Decide what your goal for your email is. Are you sending out this mail today to get Google reviews? Are you sending out this mail to get people to follow you on Facebook? What do you want from this email? Make sure that you've got a call to action that matches that. If your business is in the running for any awards or anything like that, that's the kind of stuff you want to talk about on your mailers. If you want to do a survey with your customers, lovely way to just get engagement from your customers and get them talking. And I think that the biggest thing with surveys is that we don't know what we don't know. So we tend to make a lot of assumptions about our customers, and we might not have time to call absolutely everyone and just find out what their opinion is. But a survey is a nice, like, quick way to just get insight into what your customers are actually thinking. And again, I'll give you an example that was relevant to my business, is that at the beginning of this period, when we had to start marketing more to customer than customer to business, we were wanting to broaden our salon offering, and we started guessing about what our customers would want. So we thought, okay, people will want waxing. I don't think they'll want them to have their face touched. So I didn't think that that was going to be the most popular. And I thought maybe we could do skincare consultation over Zoom. Sounded like an easy sell. And when I sent it out to my customers, I was all wrong. What they wanted was manicures and pedicures more than anything. Bikini wax is hugely popular after lockdown. And Zoom consultations for skin was an absolute no-go. Like 3% of people thought that that would be something that they'd be interested in. And that just saved us a whole lot of time and effort for not wasting on a product that wouldn't have really been very successful. And you can do surveys on SurveyMonkey, also free. And you can do them quickly and easily, but the only thing is that you can only add up to 5 or 6 questions, which can be limiting sometimes. So I like to use Google Forms more because it gives me it gives me the feedback and it stays there forever. It does also on SurveyMonkey, but I can then brand it with my branding and stuff like that, which is quite cool. Any questions here on content?
No, I think we've covered all our questions. Laurie and I are responding to questions.
Okay.
So if we can't respond, we will interrupt you.
Okay, perfect. And then just a note, there are some really beautiful websites that you can get absolutely free images that you can create. Like I know that Orta's done a lot of other things on Canva and how to use Canva. But if there are pictures on Canva that are for pro or that you can't get hold of, I really recommend a website called Upsplash and another one called Pixabay. And you can go on there and you can download those images, and they're free and they're legal to use. And then you can just let people, you can either thank the person for sending them or not. It's completely up to you, but you can subscribe to those as well. And some really gorgeous photos there. That's where I get all my pics. And they say like exactly my brand images. So audience cleaning is also very important. When you create your database, you're gonna put it in, you're gonna send it out. A whole lot of people are going to automatically unsubscribe. Then you're going to have a whole lot of people that never read your emails for whatever reason. It could be that they are going into their spam folder. It could be that they just don't see your emails. It could be that their company blocks emails from Mailchimp or other mass mailing platforms like this. So there are many reasons that there could be a lot of dormant users or subscribers on your audience. And once you start paying for subscribers, that's just a waste of money. You really rather want to be talking to an audience that cares about your mails. So every so often you're going to want to go on and run a re-engagement campaign and get a whole lot of people to organically unsubscribe. Or alternatively, you can also just pull up an audience. So you can go into audience management. It's in the Mailchimp dashboard. Go into audience management and ask Mailchimp to show you which subscribers have not read your last 10 mails or not read your last mails over the last period of time. And then shock horror, delete them, because they're not reading your emails anyway. So rather get rid of them and make space for people who probably will read your emails. When I do a re-engagement campaign, I just send out one mail that says, it just says it's been a while as my subject line, and then in my mailer it says you don't call, you don't write, we've been talking to you, we don't know if you want to hear from us still. If you would like to still hear from us, please feel free to stay here, but if not, please unsubscribe. No hard feelings, kind of, we hope to see you back one day. But you really just want to keep that audience nice and tidy, and the goal is to keep your audience as a 5-star audience. So what you can also do, and this is what is also really, really powerful, is that once you pull those reports afterwards, you can take all of the people who are always, you'll start seeing who's always reading your emails, and just tag them on something like openers or regular reader or something like that, so that you know who those people are who are definitely always opening your email. So that if you want to do a special discount or a special promotion, or even just like you just want to give them a special thank you in some way, then you know exactly who they are, and you've got them on their own list with their own tags, and you know that you're going to send out a mail to them that's going to get like a 60% open rate, which is really awesome.
So, Nate, we are answering questions in the chat box. I have one that's come through from Lauren. She said that she uses her iAfrica email address, and she doesn't think that people are actually getting her mails from this address. Is the email address relevant?
So there's no problem with that as an email address, but I would suggest that you go and have a look at your reports, because if you don't think people are getting your emails, Mailchimp knows. So just go on each campaign and look at the report, and it will tell you how many percentage opens you've got. And if you see 0, then people are probably not getting your emails, and you need to see why. Maybe just go through that setup process and make sure that you've ticked all the boxes. But Mailchimp won't send an email without saying, without checking an email address and making sure that everything works. So it'll pick up errors. It should pick up errors. So you just need to look at your report and make sure that it's going out, and make sure that when you're sending it, you've got the little monkey sweating hand coming down on the button, and that it's actually being sent. And if that's happening, then there should be no reason why people aren't getting them. You can't have a whole audience going to junk mail. That's unlikely.
And then we have a question, what is a tag and how do you tag?
Okay, so it gets a little bit confusing, but there are tags, there are segments, and then there are groups. So you can put people into either of those. I'm still dabbling with segments and groups. So I'm just going to talk about tags because I think that they're the easiest to use at the moment. And tags are really just where I've said, I've imported an audience and I've said, give this audience the tag. So they go onto my same main list, but it just gives me little subdivisions of what that audience is about. So you've got your main audience, which is like on mine, it's HubSpot contacts. And then in that audience, I've got sports events, I've got mobile massage, and I've got corporate massage, so that I can send special emails to each of those groups of people. You know, like now for Christmas, I'll want to talk to my mobile massage people. They've all got the tag mobile massage. So when I create my campaign and I'm saying send to, I can put in a tag and say only send to customers that have the tag mobile massage, and then they'll get that email.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now how to assess a campaign after it's run. Once you've sent your campaign out, so I really recommend, and I warn you, it can become a little bit obsessive, but I really recommend that you download the Mailchimp app on your phone, because then you also get notifications on how your campaign is performing. But this will tell you exactly what's going on. So you send the campaign out, it goes out to, let's say, 100 subscribers, and then it tells you, okay, 20 people have opened, you've got a 20% open rate. And by the way, 20% is a really good open rate. If you're getting more than 20%, you're doing something right. So carry on doing that. And if you're getting less than 20%, you need to reassess what's missing from your mail and see why people are not engaging with it. But you should look at it and you should be able to see, okay, how many people have opened my email? You can then go scroll down on that report and you'll see which people opened it the most times. And from a customer service point of view, if you've got a customer who's opened that email 6 times, phone them. Just call them and say, even if you just call casually and say, I just want to see if you got my email, and they'll say, yes, actually, I've looked at it 6 times. They won't know necessarily that they've looked at it 6 times, but you definitely, they're looking at your mail enough. There's something there that's interesting for them and you want to find out what or how you can help them. So a nice way to just also talk to your customers, and talking to a customer who's already interested in your brand, they're just a little bit further down the buyer's journey, and it's probably going to take a little nudge to just get them to buy in the end. So you want to look at what links are being clicked as well, so that you can see what your customers are interested in. And you also want to see, you can do A/B testing as well, which is a little bit more complicated, but I'll give you a good example. So in my business, my sense of humor is quite quirky and cheeky, and it's something that I would love to bring into my brand, but unfortunately my customers just don't dig it. They don't think it's funny. So I have my best ever performing subject line was for Secretary's Day, and it was, is there a multitasking ninja in your office? We got a huge open rate. People were obviously very curious to hear what it was about. We made lots of sales. Everything was happy. It was a wonderful campaign. This year, we tried to be a little bit cheeky and run a campaign that said, rub your boss up the right way for Boss's Day. Crickets. We got a 16% open rate. People didn't like it. So you can use A/B testing to do things like that, to send, maybe you're unsure about the price of your product and you want to send one email to half your audience that gives a cheaper price, and you want to send one email to another audience that sells a higher price. When people reply, you'll be able to see which campaign they received, and you can see which one performs better as well. So if you sort of struggling a little bit with things like that, you can use a mail to test it out, and then the same with subject lines. You can see which subject lines are really working for your business and which ones are not. And then what you want to do is, once you've pulled that campaign and you've seen, okay, it went out to 20% or 25% of my people, that's great, but that means that 750 people still didn't open my email. So what can I do now to get that email read by them? So you'll see an option to resend to non-openers. I like to change the subject line completely. I've seen someone send one recently that said, reminder, blah, blah. I think her subject was, is the hug dead? Then she said, reminder, is the hug dead? And I sort of thought, I didn't want to read that the first time. I don't really want to read it now. I still didn't open her resend. But perhaps if she'd said something like, need a squeeze or something like that, I'd be like, hold on, what's this about? I might have opened it and then either found something interesting or not. But the point is that if you choose something that's still relevant to what you're saying in your mailer, but that's a little bit different so that it's more eye-catching, you'll probably pick up a few more opens, and hopefully you'll be tapping into a little bit of a dormant readership within your database.
So if a person opens a mail 20 times, does that mean that they're sharing the mail or just opening it?
No, so I think that you can see if somebody has forwarded it to someone else, and sometimes I wonder whether it hasn't perhaps been left open on a tab on their computer, and then they come back and they either see it again or not, or maybe it's in their mailbox and they go through it a couple of times. So I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but you know, still, if they're clicking it open enough times and it's showing up, you definitely want to pay attention to them. I don't know if I perhaps left this out of my first slide, but I just want to share some tips on how to get opens on your emails as well. So you need a catchy subject. You know, if you just think about when you start reading an email, and if it reads something like this month's specials, like, I know you're selling to me really hard, I'm not that interested. But if I say something like book a massage and get a free pedicure, you're a little bit more inclined to open that. And even that's not a great example. Multitasking ninja is an excellent example. You want to make something that people are curious about. What is this? I want to see what it is, even if it's just to get them to open the email. Chuck Norris must not know is, you know, the kind of thing, depending on what your brand is about, but something that people are going to be curious enough about to just open that email. You're just trying to get their attention. So really think about that when you're choosing your subject line. Mailchimp also has the capacity to put in their first name and potentially their last name. So where you want to be careful is if somebody has registered like their company. I get a lot of emails that start with "Hi Shea." Of course, my name is not Shea, my name is Nadine. So I start already feeling like I'm dealing with a robot. So just be careful of that kind of thing. But putting in somebody's first name on the emails helps to block out spam filters. So it helps your email to actually get through to the person that it's being sent to. And I don't know why, but it's putting an emoji in your subject line and in your description also helps to block out spam filters, and it gives you a higher open rate. People seem to, I don't know if it gets their attention or what it is, but they're more inclined to open your email if there's an emoji in the subject line. Always make sure that your email has a call to action in it, and make sure that you're saying relevant things to your customers. And of course, put your phone number somewhere on your email. At the bottom where you've got your unsubscribe and all of that, just put your company details in so that if somebody wants to reach out and actually talk to someone, they can do that. I think that that's also a really important part. And I think the biggest thing now is technology can be really overwhelming, and these digital marketing things can be really overwhelming, and just accept that your first few mails are not going to be the best. It's going to take you some time to get to know what your customers want to read and hear. So don't be scared, just start doing it. Just start with something. And even if you send it to 3 friends first, send a test mail to yourself so that someone can check for spelling errors, grammar, if there's anything missing, if they think what they would like to hear. Send it to just a couple of people who can run through it with you and say, like, this is nice, this is not nice, and you can play with it. Know that it's going to take you a little bit of time up front first, but it's going to get easier and it's going to get better. But just do it. Just don't not do it. Because we all kind of get to this point and then get stuck, and you need to actually just get over that hump and carry on and keep going, and eventually you'll have a successful, regular running mail campaign. And I think that that's also important, is making sure that it is regular. So if you decide to do it once a month, commit to doing it once a month or twice a month, or if it's once a week, it's once a week. But with social media, it's always got to be real, regular, and relevant, as per Mike Said's courses. So this is just a little video. I don't know if it's actually going to play, so I'm going to try, but this is really, Michael Hoff shared this in one of his digital marketing courses, and I watch it every so often to remind myself, but I'm just going to play it for you guys quickly, and then I'll be open to answering any other questions you may have. Is it working?
The sound is very low.
Perhaps I can just send a link. It's 5 minutes, and if the sound is bad, it's not going to be worthwhile.
No, there's no sound at all. So at the top, you can click computer sound, enable computer sound.
Sorry, should I continue or should we just skip it?
So there's no sound again now?
I've just paused it.
Oh, okay, there was sound just before.
Was there? Okay, then I'll just play it because it is worthwhile.
No sound, Nate?
No.
You can send me the link and I will put it in the communication.
I'll send you the link and you can just add it into the email that you send everybody, and I recommend just watch it because it's wait, how do I go to my next slide? All the websites, but I cannot go to my next slide. And that's the end of my presentation. Okay, any questions or discussion?
So we've had excuse me, we've had quite a few questions coming through while you were busy. Myself and Laurie have been responding to them, but I think it might be a good idea to allow everyone to ask any questions. You've covered some of them with regards to subject line, content, etc. So if anyone would like to ask a question, you have your emojis, or alternatively, you can just unmute yourself and ask Nadine.
Hi, Nadine. I have a question.
Yeah.
So is it important that I use my, when you register, the first thing it asks you for is your email address. Is it important that I use my business address? In other words, will that address actually appear, the one I register with, will that appear in the emails that get sent out? Or could I use my personal address if that suits me?
You could use your personal address, and then it'll ask you to say who these emails are from. And then I would recommend putting the emails from your business address, and that when people reply, they're going to reply to your business address. Just because it looks a little bit more uniform, it can be a little bit confusing to a customer to receive an email that comes from, like, I mean, personally, I very seldom will engage with a company that uses a Gmail account. I prefer to know that I'm working with I think that, it looks more legitimate when it comes from a business email. So you probably do want to use your business email as your reply email. But if you want to run everything from your personal email, you can do that without your customers seeing it.
Right, thanks.
Cool.
There's questions with regards to the Excel list, and I think some people are struggling to understand how you create the Excel list and then import it.
Okay. I don't know if I should perhaps just do a little demo. Let me see if I can share my screen like that. Okay, so you can see my computer screen.
Yes, perfect.
So I would go into my CRM. Go to my account. I'll just open up my Mailchimp at the same time. So just on a side note, I mean, this CRM, like I said, it's a customer relationship management program. So this is absolutely free. And when somebody goes onto my website, it will actually tell me what pages they visited before they've sent in their request. So before I phone my customer for the first time, I have such insight into what they are interested in, what kind of products they're looking for. So it's really helpful. Okay, so now I would take my contacts like this, and I'm just going to, for the sake of this now, I'm going to send them out as they are, all right? So I would say, sorry. And here I have the choice whether I want it in a CSV, XLS, or XLSX. I'm going to say CSV because that's the one I usually work with, and it's going to export. But, as I say, I mean, Mailchimp really has a lot of really awesome, helpful bits, like helpful articles. Okay, here we go. They've changed their look a little bit, so this is where I'll find my audience. You can see I've got HubSpot contacts, and here it says manage audience, and I want to say import contacts. Now my contacts were emailed to me, so hopefully they should have been. There we go. I'll download these. And then it asks me, how do I want to import them? So I can say upload a CS file, or you can copy and paste if you've got them like on Word or something like that. So I would put them on upload here. I can drop my, okay, just select them there. And then you'll say continue to organize. And here so you can see these are groups that I've created before. So whether they are on a lead cycle or something like that, you can ask them to update any existing contacts. So what will happen is if you've had people who've unsubscribed and you're pulling this list from an existing list like I have, HubSpot doesn't know who has unsubscribed from my list, but Mailchimp will keep that information. So even if you, let's say Joseph unsubscribed last week and I import him again now, Mailchimp knows what the cleaned list is and they won't put him on your subscribed list again. So that's quite helpful. Then you can say continue to tag. In this instance, I would then want to add the tag that I want to. So you could do whichever one. I'm not going to choose one now because this is my whole list, but you can see which ones I've got before. Some of them are my staff, my mobile massage, corporate clients, whichever it might be. Let's just say customer for now. And then you would say continue to match. And here you have the option of what you're going to put in. So like customer ID, I don't want that here. So I can just click on it and say, it should be somewhere where I just say don't import or skip. Hang on. They change this all the time. So that is their first name. We want the first name here. So that's correct. Sorry, guys. Trust me, I'm an expert. So usually it gives you the option here to skip those ones. I don't know why it's not doing that now, but let's just continue. I actually don't want to import this because I haven't put all of my tags on here and that will create a problem for me later. But you can see last activity date is quite nice. So like on HubSpot, if I want to speak to customers that I haven't spoken to in 6 months, for instance, I can say, show me all of the customers I haven't spoken to in 6 months, and then do like a special campaign just for them, for instance. But this is where you'll organize it. I don't know why it's... You should be able to just take it out and not have it in here. Okay, here it says 7 columns will not be imported. So if it's orange, it's not going to be imported. If you name it, it will import it. If you don't name it, it will skip it. And then you'll get to the end and you'll say finalize import and it will all go in. And then if you've got your automated things set up, then those people should all receive a welcome email whenever you've told them to receive it. And then that's it. Does that answer the question?
Haven't received any comments, so I'm sure it does. A question is, have you ever tried linking Canva to Mailchimp? Can you even do that? And if so, has it worked for you?
So Mailchimp have now created their own like easy design builder in their emails. I'm not a big fan of it because I prefer to control the content that's going on there. And it pulls that information from your website and from anywhere else. I'm not sure about connecting Canva to Mailchimp. I haven't heard of that and I haven't tried it.
Okay, and in terms of the free package, the free Mailchimp version, how many emails can you send to a person per month?
So I think that it's 2,000 subscribers, and I don't know what the limit is on sending to them every month, but I'm sure that you could probably mail them once a week safely, and it would be fine.
So Nate, it's 10,000 sends a month. You're allowed.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
10,000.
Yes. But you can't send more than once in 24 hours as well.
Oh, okay. So you can't send once a day and then to the same people, or you could send it to your non-openers the next day?
You can, but it has to be after 24 hours.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Nadine? With regards to adding a brochure, how do you add a brochure to Mailchimp?
So what I would do, sorry, I need a little bit more information. Is that for like a catalog of products, or like how many products are you wanting to display in that brochure?
Ingrid, would you like to elaborate on your question? So Ingrid said that she did try use Mailchimp, but found it was not easy to use and add a brochure. She then said, is there any way you can do another webinar going through every step and show exactly how it works?
Okay, I'll work on that.
She hasn't elaborated. It's a catalog.
Yeah. So, I mean, what Mailchimp does have is they've got like where you can put groups of pictures with descriptions on them, and you can link those pictures. So what I would do is I would perhaps create a little teaser on Mailchimp and then direct people to your website. You know, I also think that you ultimately want to be directing people to your website, because hopefully you've got remarketing set up on your website as well. So you want to try and follow that buyer as much as possible. Once they get your mailer and they go to your website, then when they leave there, they should be remarketed to wherever, so that they see your ad again, either through Google or Facebook or whatever it might be. So always drive sales to your website.
Shimron, do you have a question for Nadine? I'm not sure what your question is with regards to the sign-up forms.
I can't see the chat.
I've seen that several times, and I wonder if that's a way to increase your audience or your subscribers. I just don't have clarity on that. Do you know how it goes, Nadine, about the sign-up forms? I mean, it's a way to increase. Why would people do that? That's something I don't know.
Yeah. So there are lots of ways to do it. You can either be giving out, I mean, like Shimon, I think that for you, what would be really relevant is here's a, you know, download this very short manual on how to prepare for the MBA, or a short video of a description of how to prepare for the MBA, for instance, and then they exchange their email address for that information from you. So that's what most people do. You'll see it a lot on, it actually grates me. I don't know why recipe websites are not just recipe websites anymore. They're like a little blog, and then you have to search for the recipe and find it. But those are the sort of people that will be sharing things on diets and stuff like that. And it can, you know, that's how they get you in there. But I have a pop-up on my website that just says, join our mailing list to stay up to date with our latest news and promotions. And that's where people sign up from there. And it goes to its own list on my Mailchimp called website subscriptions. And I send them the same mailers, but then I just complete their tags as I engage with them, so that I know that I'm sending the right messaging to them. But it does build up. You'll be very surprised how quickly it does actually build up, and you get those customers on your list.
But how do you start that?
So on Mailchimp,
Yeah.
it's just see sign up forms over here. And you do need to be able to access the back end of your website. So either you need to do it or you need to speak to your developer to do it, but you come here and then you can create, it is quite easy to follow. So you just decide how you're doing it. If you're doing an embedded form, you just need a code. If you're doing a subscriber pop-up on your website, and you design it here, which is very much a drag and drop kind of thing. And it's just a little form that comes up and you decide what information you want from them. And it should pop up on your website or wherever you've chosen to put it. You can also share the link to this. I've shared the link to this on so here's your URL that you can share on Facebook. You can create a QR scan for it. You can put it on your WhatsApp status, share it on your website. You can just have, if you want to just have a subscribe here button on your website and then use this code to feed through to that. You can do it that way as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, very much.
So if there are no more questions, then I think I'm going to ask Laurie to please launch our poll. I know a number of you have asked us to have a very basic Mailchimp session where Nadine could possibly show us how to set up on her Mailchimp from beginning to end. So we will certainly look at including that. And if you don't mind just giving us a moment of your time to complete the feedback form that Laurie has put up. We are going to follow the feedback form with a poll. And we ask you all please to generously donate if you are able to and in a position to AutoJet. Our training this year has been completely virtual in an online world with no interaction from an office side of things. And if you are able to make a donation to us, it goes a long way and we would be extremely grateful for that. So having said that, we thank you all for joining us this morning. It's been so valuable. And I think in terms of the way forward, like Nadine said, play, practice, you can't do anything wrong. Control Z will always undo an error. And just test it, work with it, send to 2 or 3 of your friends as mentioned. And if you do have any queries or any information that you would like with regards to Mailchimp, you can email me after when I send out the post-webinar communication and link, and I will further include a copy of the video clip that Nadine was going to play.
Thanks.